But here's the thing. People are finally asking aloud. Not on Reddit or in some dubious podcast, but in real-life conversations. How in the world are Meghan and Harry making all this money? Their multi-million-dollar mansion in Monaco, their private planes, their full-time security teams, and their luxurious clothing that looks like it belongs in a Vogue shoot simply don't match the story. They sold us a few years ago. Remember that sit-down with Oprah? Harry made it clear as day, no more royal money. The whole situation had an underdog vibe, with two people leaving the most powerful monarchy in the world to start over. It was kind of inspiring, but here's where it gets strange. They didn't just survive, they thrived, and within months, there were Netflix deals. Duchess of Cornwall and Kamnada. Meghan even mentioned that she had to contact her old contacts in order to get back on her feet. Content memoir contracts, speaking engagements that cost six figures. Get it twisted, making money isn't illegal. If someone has charisma, name value, and a good public relations team, they can monetize almost anything in today's digital economy. However, the red flags aren't coming from jealous tabloids or Twitter trolls anymore. Rather, they're coming from real financial experts, government auditors, and legal insiders who are beginning to wonder if something deeper is going on. The financial network of Sussex is being surreptitiously examined by U.S. agencies. And the focus is not on whether they are generating money, but rather on how that money is flowing, where it is being disclosed, and whether there is anything suspicious going on beneath the surface. Rumors about shell corporations, offshore accounts with dubious tax returns. Yes, this is about legality now more than luxury spending because, let's face it, their lifestyle is pricey silly. Expensive security alone, reportedly costing them millions of dollars annually, and they've obviously made some big deals. They have built their brand around being victims of the crown of the press, of racism of tradition, and every new deal seems to capitalize on that narrative. People are wondering if it all adds up. Sure, a Netflix series here and a Spotify podcast. There might generate revenue, but does that justify the steady stream of expensive purchases? Or perhaps there is more going on than we realize. Meghan's truth, Harry's anguish, their royal disaster, everything is content now. And they're selling suffering instead of simply projects. And while that might generate clicks, streams, and book sales, it also invites scrutiny because when your entire business is based on mistreatment, people will start to wonder who is genuinely suffering and who is profiting. Although their business appears to be run, there is a lot of activity going on behind the scenes, including investigators following financial trails, lawyers preparing for inquiries, and insiders warning that this could become much messier than a bad headline. This is no longer a PR cleanup. It might become a judicial drama. And it's not just about Meghan and Harry. Understanding how people perceive authority and how far they can push their narrative before the data become illogical. The stakes are higher than ever before. Judging by their recent public appearances, every move feels planned. Sound clips from podcasts, meticulously crafted interviews, and precisely timed magazine covers. The strategy is beginning to feel more like a scramble than a plan because when you're monetizing your life narrative, there's only one thing to consider: celebrity. Now it's a machine, and every piece of information they release seems to be engineered to create just enough buzz to keep them in headlines. Before the audience begins to question what is genuine and what is for sale, there is a lot of content to distribute. Meghan's brand in particular has changed significantly. Her charity visits and subdued activist-driven actions are now replaced by health initiatives. There is a growing perception that the new empire isn't based on values, but rather on visibility, as evidenced by whispered lifestyle blogs, discussing makeup lines, and even rumored partnerships with high-end fashion houses. These things make sense in the celebrity world, but not so much for someone who claimed to be sick of being in the spotlight. The greater the number of eyes, you can't afford to disappear for even a moment when you're chasing relevance like that. Harry's book was a huge success, but it didn't just tell his side of the story. It burned bridges, family, the press, and the palace. No one was spared. And while his honesty sold many copies, it also put him under a new kind of scrutiny. If you say you're speaking your truth, people expect transparency. And financial investigators are now pushing for transparency in both words and money are not minor. They are examining the entire system, including how the deals are made, who is on the paperwork, which countries the cash are coming from, and whose taxes are being reported, rather than just one or two dubious receipts. Word has it that a number of revenue streams are being scrutinized, not because someone is envious, but rather because the numbers are rapidly shifting across borders and through numerous layers of names, businesses, and trusts. Not to mention, the visual appeal of telling the world you've been abandoned financially and then appearing to live like a movie star. People take notice. When public figures combine philanthropy and profit, every dollar that comes in and goes out must be tracked. And when you're making emotional appeals on camera, While tax authorities stop watching interviews and start looking at bank accounts, insiders say that several charitable foundations connected to the couple are also being examined, and not for any proven wrongdoing, but because that's what happens when public figures mix philanthropy with profit. That's not just a PR contradiction. It can also spark legal interest. Off-camera product launches, the lines rapidly get blurry. This isn't just a tabloid, because there is growing interest in the team handling their affairs. Are those around them just PR experts, or are they skilled financial operators who know how to move money in ways that stay just under the radar? If anything shady has gone down, it probably wasn't by accident. It requires structure, planning, and usually involves more people than just the faces in front of the camera. What is a genuine, cause what is a brand strategy? Are the finances clean? Obsession these days, it's turning into a true financial case study. When royalty and celebrity collide in the era of internet capitalism, the margins get extremely thin, and if something has been pushed too far, lawyers will be in court. The pressure is intense, and now every decision they make, every agreement they sign, and every brand they work with is monitored, recorded, and examined. Meghan and Harry are now more than simply EBS oils. They have developed a business strategy that hinges solely on sustaining their notoriety, pace, and converting headlines into cash. But the fractures are revealing that the deals are becoming more frequent and frantic. It's like seeing a startup grow too quickly and spend money just to stay afloat. Meghan's most recent endeavors have sparked even more curiosity. A cookery show that is said to have lifestyle content teases of wellness items on social media. She seems to be attempting to start a dozen empires at once. And although ambition is not forbidden, investors and regulators alike are wary of people who expand too quickly, particularly when the foundation Harry's public image has taken a different kind of hit. The vulnerable, emotionally raw version of him that appeared in interviews has now changed into something else entirely. He is now juggling lawsuits, book promotions, and increasingly awkward press moments. His credibility was damaged when didn't match up when certain claims were contested, and when his own family remained noticeably silent, that publicity did not always translate into value. Nothing has been proven yet, but once financial agencies begin to peel back layers, they don't stop at the surface. It's no longer about whether Meghan and Harry did something technically illegal. It's about reputation-based contracts, misrepresentation, and even misuse of charitable funds. Legal experts say that if this escalated further, the investigations won't just stay in the financial lane. They could stretch into reputation, contracts, misrepresentation, and even misuse of charitable funds, especially if any nonprofit funds have been redirected toward personal endeavors. The impression of intent, if they were aware that certain financial choices would result in tax benefits, circumvent reporting requirements, or sway public opinion through charity branding. It presents a completely different picture, one of exploitation and manipulation rather than rebellion or independent stand in the current environment. That is a risky narrative to spread among fans. Some continue to back them, arguing that every step is strategically vital, even motivating those who have grown weary. The constant barrage of private disclosures, legal actions, and media appearances has diminished its once powerful impact. The question subtly reverberating across platforms is straightforward, and the new now feels practiced. Are they trying to become the next great power couple outside of the monarchy? Are they leaving a legacy? Are they trying to stay relevant at all costs? Or are they just trying to escape a financial mess they can't afford to slow down and fix? There have been rumors that lawyers are planning for every scenario behind closed doors: tax audits, public filings, subpoenas, and sometimes even depositions if the situation becomes serious. In that case, the curtain is drawn back completely. No longer in charge of PR for Meghan and Harry, the risk now isn't just embarrassment, but full-blown legal exposure, because when your brand is built on transparency and the money says otherwise, it's not just a contradiction, it's a crisis. There will be no more narrative shaping, just facts, timelines, bank statements, and paper trails. The problem with paper trails is that they don't lie. They either confirm your story or blow it to pieces. No Netflix arrangement can remove it at this time.